Good evening, everyone. It is June 21st at 5:45 p.m. Hope everybody enjoyed what turned out to be a really nice weekend. I thought we were going to get washed out there for a little bit, but was able to make the best of it. Hope those of you who are fathers, enjoyed your Father's Day. This video is being recorded in anticipation of our transition from Module 1 to Module 2. I want to thank all of you for a strong first module. I really enjoyed reading your discussion posts and your learning logs. I think I've figured out the issues with the grade book and the learning logs. I know a number of you reached out to me about that learning log 1, learning log 2. I think I've got that figured out, so you should be all set with the second set of logs over the next 2 weeks. You may have seen some grades come and go and then come again. Sorry about that. That was necessary as I corrected the programming behind the Blackboard grading feature. So fingers crossed. I think everything is correct now. By now, you've submitted, or you should have submitted, your first paper for the class. Remember, if you haven't, that's due tonight by midnight. I'll review those this week, and we'll have feedback and a grade for you, hopefully by my next update, which I expect to come to you late this week, maybe over the weekend, but probably late this week. Module 2 is now available to you for your viewing and for your learning pleasure. You spent the first module thinking about the foundations of continuous improvement. As a group, we looked at the correlates of effective schools. We examined systems thinking and the importance of building and sustaining a culture of continuous improvement. You were introduced to change theory. For some of you, this was the very first time you'd heard that phrase, and for others, you are well-versed. Specifically, in this case, we introduced you to change theory as it relates to results-oriented, data-driven, collaborative, and ongoing school improvement. And finally, you wrestled with the role that technology plays in the context of 21st century improvement. It's interesting. When I've taught this class in the past, that's been the least, it's been the set of questions that's gotten the least traction. I think everybody's minds are firmly on 21st century technology, though, right now. And I found the discussions to be really quite interesting. So thank you for that. All right, so transitioning into Module 2, we move into the actual school improvement process. By now, you should have read through Chapter 9 of your text. Note there's just one additional chapter reading for this module. You have 3 discussion questions that I've asked you to tackle with the material in this module. And again, just as a reminder, it's always good practice to go into the discussion forums at least 3 times each week, once at the beginning, once in the middle, and again at the end. I've made an attempt to do the same, interacting with, I think most of you I've interacted with at least once, if not a couple of times in the threads. And I've been incredibly pleased with the depth of conversations you've been having with each other. I think I said early on that the learning really happens in the discussion threads, and you all really dove in after that first week, and I appreciate that. I think it's made for some good learning. I've learned a lot. So the 3 questions that you're focusing on this time start with setting priorities. As you analyze your data, and this is all about data the next 2 weeks, it's likely that you'll uncover multiple problems with a long list of potential root causes. The use of that phrase, root cause analysis, is really at the center of our school improvement processes. Effective improvement efforts begin with and depend on setting appropriate priorities. How should the school improvement team establish these priorities and then make sure their improvement efforts are clearly aligned is the question I'm looking for you to wrestle with in the discussion forum this week. Second question is around level 2 data, curriculum instruction and assessment. Collecting these data can be very time consuming, and as a school leader, the question I'm asking you to think through and discuss is, how would you ensure that your staff regularly and thoroughly monitor data related to curriculum, instruction, and assessment? And finally, root cause experience. I mentioned root cause analysis earlier. It's often avoided or excluded altogether. People jump to solutions. We as educators want to fix the problems, but there are methods of going through a more systematic process to determine, are we putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, or are we really going after the root cause of the pain that you're feeling? Band-Aid's not really going to help all that much, although it might stop the bleeding some. In that question, I've asked you to share your experiences, and it's okay if it's your lack of experience with root cause analysis, and to discuss strategies that might mitigate this challenge. It's very important that you take the time to review all of the material that I've provided you in this module. There's not a whole lot of reading going on, but it's very important that you take some time to really dive into the PowerPoint presentations that I've given you and the video that I've given you. The most important thing to remember is that root cause analysis is a team effort. If you do it alone, there's going to be blind spots, and the final product that you come up with will almost certainly not be nearly as well reasoned or provisioned for as it would have been if you had engaged in a collaborative process. And we talked about that last time as it related to who should be on your school improvement team. There are 2 PowerPoint presentations shared in this module. The first explores the drilling down process for data examination. Data that is valid and reliable confirm what's working well and reveal the gaps between current reality and the shared vision of your organization. Where are we now? And as a result of our process, where do we want to go? In that vein, I ask you in the PowerPoint to consider the following questions. What questions are we trying to answer in our analysis of these data? What do the data seem to tell us? What doesn't the data seem to tell us? And what else should we need to know? Or would we need to know? What other questions might we need to ask before we settle on a solution? What good news is here for us to celebrate? And lastly, what opportunities might arise from the data? All really important questions that you'll use probably for the rest of your careers as you engage in root cause analysis. The second PowerPoint dives into the root cause analysis process. It's less about the data itself and more about what you do with the data. I've shared with you a number of videos that I want you to spend some time viewing on some different processes that you might be interested in trying. Affinity diagrams, 5 whys, fishbone, and force field analysis. These are just a few of many processes you could use for root cause analysis, but it's a great place to start. Some of you may be familiar with these as a teacher. I encourage you, as I have for the last couple of weeks, to spend some time viewing the videos I've uploaded and trying to consider the content through the lens of school improvement and through the lens of leadership. Step out of the position that you're currently in and think like an administrator might or a supervisor might. Your data analysis and summary paper is the major product for this module. Please make sure to carefully view the protocol for data analysis video that I've uploaded for you, as this will serve as your model for this assignment. As you get into the work, don't be shy about asking questions. I've added a question box to the forum, and I'll respond to those on a regular basis. And of course, you can always email me, text me, or call me if you need a more immediate response. But I think some of you have found that emails are I'm a little slower on the emails right now than I normally am. Texting or calling, I'm very quick with. And I go on to Blackboard every day. So if you post something, I can guarantee you I'll get to it pretty quickly. Anyway, with that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, that you are enjoying the day, and that the next 2 weeks are as solid a learning experience as you hoped they would be. Anyway, I will see you all soon, hopefully in the threads.